We're back.
We are here, number 122.
122. How are you?
No, you didn't.
I did.
She did.
I did.
122 for the second time.
No.
Oh, the other one was 121.
I made it 120. There was a snafu, so please.
I'll explain.
But thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and we're heading into St. Patrick's Day. Is that why we have the green?
I know. I thought you ladies would be in
I
green.
wasn't.
Well, I wore green. I had on my bright green, but it's a very clingy material.
Okay.
And I was walking around the house with it, being annoyed for like over an hour. I said, just take it off. I hate that blouse.
There you go. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking St. Patrick's Day. You know, just a little crazy, what's going on? I think the last time we met, there wasn't a war going on, right?
No.
No.
There was Zins, or I think it had started when we got home that day, or something like that. Because I think the last time we had talked, we were thinking about it, and then when by the time we got home, I think they had bombed them or something like that.
I don't remember.
So yeah, we are in a war.
Even though some say we are and some say we
Well,
aren't.
Trump keeps on calling it a war.
Right.
You know, I think that they finally stopped denying that it's a war.
It's a war.
And not an excursion. I mean, I heard his explanation about the excursion.
Oh,
that could be a war. You know,
No, it's a war.
You know him, it doesn't make any sense.
Because he doesn't even know.
So hopefully it's over with quickly, because
I don't
war
think
is a
it will
terrible
be.
thing.
I don't think it will be.
I don't think so either, but I do know that I'm dreading having to fill up my gas tank on the way home today, because the gas prices are through the roof.
Yeah.
Which was, I think, the one beacon of hope that party was clinging to. Look at our low gas prices.
I know, oil a
Not
barrel
anymore.
is now up to $100 already, so that is going to affect the price of gasoline. I paid $3.39 the other day.
Wow.
So, which is bad enough, but
Yeah.
I read somewhere in California it was $8 a gallon, and I find that hard to believe.
No, I guess it depends where you are. I mean, I actually had to fill up out east, and because I was visiting my aunt, and I said, oh shoot, I need gas, right? And where I ended up being, for some reason, all of the gas stations were full service. Didn't realize that too. So they charged a little bit more for that, and then I didn't have the cash, so I had to use my card, so that they charge more for that.
Yeah, I hate that.
Me too. And so I said, oh, this is really expensive out here now.
Yeah.
More importantly, though, I mean, it sucks that they're that high, but, you know, the lives that are lost.
Oh, yeah.
This is what's, you know, those young kids, girls, I guess it was just a girls' school.
It was a girls' school, teachers and
young girls.
Yeah.
And we did it.
We absolutely did it.
Yeah.
We bombed.
They used old information, they said.
Yeah.
That school evidently wasn't there on the plan that they used
Yes,
to
because
target
they
the
got
base.
rid of the people that knew what they were doing.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and what is in charge, we have what's very concerning, I don't know if you heard, but the language coming from Pete Hegseth about the military and how we're not going to quarter anybody, and so you know, he's directed his military, our military, but led by this guy, to not quarter and to not give aid to injured people. So if what that means is, you know, historically, I mean, plus it's in our military, the Marines, you know, that's what their code, that if somebody's surrendering or is injured, you don't fire upon them. You take them prisoner, but you don't fire on them. Pete Hegseth said, we're not abiding by that anymore. That's a violation of every international law that I could think of as well. But he's not.
It's also a violation of his so-called Christianity. And I was reading the letter that Congress wrote to, it's the military, I forgot the name of the organization. It's the military, for crying out loud. Military Religious Freedom Foundation.
Okay.
Because Pete Hegseth is like saying this is like for the Armageddon.
Well,
Yeah. So a complaint was shared from an anonymous, non-commissioned officer. That means that he's not in the war zone, but he could be deployed there. 15 people of 15 troops of 11 of them were Christian, one was Muslim, one was a Jew, and they complained that their commanding officer, a top-ranked one, said that Trump, the officers were urged to tell their troops that this was all part of God's divine plan.
Revelation.
Yeah,
and Trump was anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark the return, his return to Earth. So they logged over 200 complaints. And Hegseth and the Pentagon hold monthly religious services that, like you don't have to attend, but they call it voluntold. Like nobody's going to buck against it. They're going to end up showing up.
That's what they did to fill the Melania movie theaters. The military were telling their troops they should go.
Yeah. The word that they use is voluntold.
You're
not volunteering, you're being told to go. And I just am appalled by it. So I think there's 30, of course, Democratic Congresspeople who wrote this letter to the Inspector General of the Department of Defense, outlining it, what's going on, and they're demanding them to investigate it. So it said at the time when billions of dollars and untold numbers of lives hang in the balance, while the Trump administration wages a war of choice in Iran, the imperative of maintaining strict separation of church and state and protecting the religious freedom of our troops is especially critical. We must ensure that military operations are guided by facts and the law, not end times prophecy and extreme religious beliefs. And the extremists that the Pentagon is exhibiting is the same extremists that they do in Iran.
Yes.
It's the same thing. They're not any better except for we're not sending human soldiers into minefields to blow them up so the tanks could come through. Because Iran did that in the 80s during the Iraq War.
Yeah, so many people that are born-again Christians are waiting for Armageddon, and they're waiting for the rapture to come first, and then it's a whole thing. And they did that when Hitler was in office. They did that even before. They did it 30 years after Jesus had been crucified. So they were waiting for this, and they've been waiting for over 2,000 years. And it's a joke, because like you said, let's go by the facts.
Exactly.
Let's avoid the whole religious aspect, because, Dr. Harold Camping, who had a Christian show for years, he's passed since, but he knew the day and the hour and the time, and he had everybody waiting for it to be raptured. And then he said, I must have miscounted the days.
They say that every year somebody comes out with, yes, it's on January, whatever.
And even the Bible says, no man knows the day or the hour when he comes, if you believe in that, but whatever. I want wine.
No, it's just egocentric is what it is.
You know what? The world would be so much better without religion. I'm sorry.
How egocentric is this
so much better.
Pete Hegseth and those in charge to say that act as if they know or that Jesus is speaking directly to them, that God is speaking to them.
What is this? Is this vodka?
It sounds like my husband when I bought this. No, I wanted to try something a little different. We've been drinking a lot of reds. Not that I'm complaining, because I like reds, but I saw this at the store yesterday, and I said, this is interesting. This is a white Malbec.
I know.
That's great.
Interesting. Yes. It looks like water.
Now would this, it does. Now would this have legs? Like, could you?
Yeah,
it should.
Yeah, it does. I see them, but they run down very quickly.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, wow. I've never seen them run down like that.
They ran down. They're running They're running to Armageddon.
Oh, okay. I'm curious to see how this tastes. So I found this. This is a Trivento. It's an Argentinian wine. It's from Argentina. It's white Malbec. It's a reserve from 2025. So it's not too old. And it says Mendoza on here. A well-known Malbec, newly styled with... Oh, I don't want to say the aromas here. You tell me what you...
Oh.
If you have any notes.
Then we should taste it first before...
Oh, sure. Do we want to toast?
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. It smells like very light. Maybe like pears.
Oh my God, yeah, I can taste the pears.
I can smell the pears. I haven't tasted yet.
Let me see if I get a better description. I had one up here.
Mentally, I can't see it. It's playing games with me when I'm looking at it and tasting it.
I didn't chill this, so I wasn't
Yeah,
sure
I
if
know. I
needed
was
to
just
chill
gonna
it.
say you needed to chill it.
Well, I don't know, because that was getting me confused, because this is it says the wine. All right, no, where's the one I was looking at? It said it's supposed to be you drink it like a red, but it could taste like a white. So this was confusing me. So it didn't say for me to chill it, is what I think.
Well, my brain sees white wine, and when I took the sip, I said, "Oh, it needs to be chilled," just because my brain makes the connection.
The white. Yeah,
So that's. I mean, maybe that's what it is, but I didn't want to ruin it. Because I don't like it when red wine is chilled.
Oh, I don't either. I get very upset. Ask Natasha, ask Peggy. In some restaurants, they serve it in the good restaurants, and it's all chilled.
And Hunter, she had to send it back.
I was like, this is too chilled.
He said because a lot of our customers like chilled red wine. So
I was one of
coming
them.
in there.
That would be like, go to Dunkin' and they just give you iced coffee all the time, and now you have to start asking for it hot. That's
really?
No, I would say that would be.
Yeah.
They should. Red wine is not supposed to be chilled. If they want it chilled, they should.
It's supposed to be slightly chilled, but not chilled like white wine.
Even Natasha has a wine.
Yeah, you have a red wine fridge, and it is slightly chilled.
But not.
No, not cold.
Not cold.
But
even then, I like it room temperature.
I have to say that this is much too light for me. It's very, very light.
I'm having a mental issue about it. I really am. Okay, so we have to guess what's in it. I think pears.
You think pears?
Yeah, I'm thinking pears or maybe lemon. I don't know. I'm thinking. I'm thinking citrusy. Light citrusy looking fruits.
Well, there is citrusy, no pears, but it's green apple.
Oh, okay.
Cherry,
I didn't think of that.
Strawberry and raspberry.
Oh, see, I don't know.
I don't get the berry.
No. Okay. I don't get the cherry
either.
They say
it's light to medium bodied with high crisp acidity and a refreshing finish.
I don't know that I would buy it. No, I know that I wouldn't buy it. Let me put it that way.
I could see drinking this in the summer.
And you would have it chilled.
Definitely would have it chilled.
Going back
because
now,
it has a nice taste. I like the taste of it, but to me it tastes very light bodied. There's nothing medium about it.
Right. Okay. Definitely, I agree with everything you just said. And next time, if I get this, would be a chilled.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So alcohol content.
I'm gonna say 12.
Oh my God, that's what I was going to say, exactly. 12.
This would be great for day drinking because it's only 10.5%.
Oh, good,
wow.
good.
Yeah, 10.5%. So a perfect one, I think, just to have in the summer during the day.
I would buy this in the summer, like if Jessica is having, like a barbecue or something, because, nobody wants a lot of alcohol, especially if it's early in the day, so.
So how much would you pay for this?
Nothing.
I would pay like $15 for it. Around
what
15.
I think the price
What
point?
would you think it would be?
The price point, $12.95.
This was $10.
Oh wow.
Or $10.99 or something. $10 or $11. And I bought that at Cappy's right back there. And it was in the international section of the Argentinian.
It was right by here?
Yes.
What's the price?
not Cappy's. Why do I want to call it Cappy's? Stu Leonard's.
Oh,
Stu
okay.
Leonard's.
I was like,
Okay.
Cappy's is a big Cappy's is a big liquor store where I used to have my condo in Boston.
Oh my God!
It reminds me of
Because you said Cappy's before too, and I'm thinking, where the hell is Cappy's?
I think I'm having reminiscence.
Maybe that's
I'm
why you
missing
couldn't
Boston.
find that wine with the faces on it, because you.
I bought it at
Cappy's.
Cappy's. Cappy's is great. It's a big place like Stu Leonard's.
Yeah.
I think that's why I named this association.
Now, I did like going to Total Wine, but it's just a zoo, and I don't order online. I just like to walk the aisles. But anyway, so Stu Leonard's is my to-go place. But yeah, how many Wildflowers?
Well, if it was the summer and I was at the barbecue, I would give it more. But being that it's March and I'm indoors and it's chilly out, I think it needs a little more body and a tad bit more flavor. So I'm going to give it 3.
I'm going to give it more. I think I'm going to give this like a 3.75.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I would buy it.
I'm going to buy
And
this.
I'm gonna write it down actually.
2.75.
Okay.
I'm not a fan.
No, I think
Again, it's a mental issue with me.
We should blindfold her.
Yes.
Now,
Well, it's too
when
late
she's
now.
drinking wine.
But I think it's a good conversation starter for a gift,
Oh,
like to bring it to
absolutely.
somebody's house. And for that
Trivento.
price, $10, you can't go wrong.
No, I know.
But I think that the fact that we tried something a little different is really awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did it. It does look like water.
It looks like, to me, it looks like a vodka bottle. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this.
Yeah, it
And the
does.
color looks like
Or
vodka.
rum. Mm-hmm.
Or rum,
Yeah.
yes. And it's definitely different. I said, I'm intrigued. I'm buying this.
Well, okay.
There we go.
Okay. Also, I got corrected from the last podcast for the wine, Puerta Vieja. You brought the wine.
No, I didn't.
No, she
You
wasn't.
did? I was reading Port.
Oh, port.
It was
Oh, Puerta.
Puerta. It was door.
Door, yeah.
My Spanish teacher corrected me.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, Peggy."
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's cute. That's
Oh,
good.
Yeah.
Thank you very
So I
much.
said, "Oh my God!" I was seeing Puerto.
So what
I said
did you
Puerta.
so you said
I
Porto?
said old.
You said old door.
Old port.
But
I
you
thought we
door.
said old door.
You said
No, you
door.
said door. Because I translated it and I said old door.
Yeah,
Oh.
you said door.
Yeah. Maybe you pronounced it Porto, but it was really Puerto. You should have said Puerto.
Yeah. I don't know because I don't have a picture of it because I couldn't remember the name. I said I don't know which way it was. But anyway, whichever way it was, I said it. And I translated incorrectly.
It doesn't matter how we said it. We hated it.
Yeah, we hated it.
We hated that
and
wine.
thank you, Alvaro, for watching our podcast.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hi,
absolutely.
Alvaro.
Let me see, is this the one? Nope, that's not the one.
I know it's on there somewhere.
That's
No,
not, that was your
that was
jug.
my last one. I saw that one there again. I almost bought it.
Where is
Is
this?
that it?
No,
No.
just-
Oh no, that's mine. Yeah, these are the ones.
Those are
So
I
we can
yours.
find it later.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
I want to hear
Alvaro.
about this book that you have here.
Oh, okay, very good. Yes, my turn. Oh, here it is.
Puerto Vieja. So we said old door is old port.
Oh, it's Old Port.
Puerto.
Oh gosh, there we are.
All right.
So it was the other way. And we were
my
wrong.
turn.
Thank you, Alvaro.
Yeah. So my book is, I just love this book for so many different reasons, but this was put together by a grandson who found in his grandmother's attic a collection of her writings that he didn't even know existed.
Right.
And it was in 200 years ago that she wrote, and she'd left these. The book is called The Echo of My Days.
And is this the woman who's writing? She found the picture?
Yes, this is the woman. Lost Stories and Poems of Bessie Smith Stanton.
It's a beautiful picture.
It's such
Yeah,
and there's
I
pictures
know.
in the book. They shared some pictures, but
I love pictures in books.
The fact that they found these writings, and they weren't just like, they were very good writings. I mean, it was so good that they put the money into publishing this book. So, so in 2022, this is when he found old stacks of family letters and documents, and then he found her writings. And they just took the time to transcribe them for this book, and it came out, I guess it was about 2 years ago, so the book has been around, and it might be a little hard-pressed to find, but if you go online, I would strongly encourage you, especially with National Poetry Month coming up, because there's a lot of poems in here. So she was educated. She was a Quaker child of a minister, and she was the youngest of 5 children, and raised on her father's farm in southern Ohio, and their house was one of the houses for the Underground Railroad, which I think it's got so many different twists and turns in this book with what they found. The stories are fun, they're entertaining, some are sad, especially some of her poems, but they compiled this, and I'm going to read you one of the poems that she wrote.
You may have said it already, but I probably zoned out. The timeline of this, of her writings.
Right.
I don't know what the timelines, I don't even know if they know what the timelines are.
I mean,
But,
when was she born, or, you know?
well, it would be in the beginning.
Oh, okay, I don't want to, I just
Yeah,
thought maybe you mentioned it.
Nearly 100 years. They were away in a box. I probably did know at some point. But anyway, 152.
I mean, just by her hairdo
I know.
and the way she dresses, it looks like late 1800s
Yes.
or, you know, early 1900s.
Well, 200 years ago it was.
It's so intriguing to find a whole box full
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah.
of letters, and I
Definitely.
would love that.
So, well, let me ask you both then. Are there things that you've written that you think, you know what, now, years later, you're like, I better get rid of these because I don't want them found?
Yes,
I
did.
threw out a lot of my poetry from when I was younger.
I did too, and I threw away
some letters.
all of my letters, like between me and my friend from high school. I used to say, you know, when you pass notes back
Yes,
and forth,
yes.
and we had boxes because we didn't have phones.
Yeah.
Right.
I threw them all away.
Do you wish you hadn't?
I do wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I regret it too, because I reread my teenage years poetry when I was like in my late 30s or early 40s, and I said, oh my God, this is such crap. And I threw it out. And now I think, no, that was my life. That was like a little bio of me as a teenager.
Exactly.
Yeah, me
exactly.
too. My poetry, I threw that away.
Yeah.
It's sad.
I have a couple of them, but
I kept all mine.
I'm glad you did.
There's some letters and stuff I got rid of, but no, I did keep my poetry, and 99% of it is horrible poetry, but there's a couple
But
in
it
there.
was you.
Yeah.
And it was your evolution to becoming the writer that you became.
Yeah.
Well, I guess. Anyway, so this is one of Bessie Smith Stanton's poems. It's called My Sonnets. My sonnets are the means by which I rise above the dreary and weariness of days. They are the magic wings that let me blaze a trail among the stars and soar the skies. Unwoven words of rhyme, when duty grim recalls me to the relevance of time, and spaces and things and earth, my wings of rhyme, lie folded unregarded in the dim recesses of my mind, until once more I falter at my task, and as before, I call them forth to give me sweet release, high in the realm of quietness and space. Ah, magic wings, what wondrous joy you bring, as lifted up my spirits soar and sing. So she
Very nice.
Yeah, very, and it's like with poetry, for me, poetry is very personal. Like I read somebody's poem, I'm like, okay, and then, others that you're like, oh my God, that's so cute, that's so sweet, so I think that for National Poetry Month, this would be very, very nice. And there's a novella in here. I think there's 2 novellas. It's been a while since I've read this book, but it's a treat, and it makes me wonder if, and I hope it encourages other people to look a little bit more closely in their attic or in wherever they keep things in storage. I think I mentioned to you at one point that I ended up buying my aunt's house, and she had already been put into a nursing home, and no one lived there, and it was just filled with stuff, and most of it was just moldy or disgusting. But there was an old uniform that was from the war, and there was some papers from the Masons, and that my uncle had been part of, and kind of disturbing. But there's just so much. Like even when I was growing up, I remember my parents' house in the hallway upstairs. Mm-hmm. There's an attic above there, and I was always so curious about that. Never was I allowed to go up there, but they were told there was nothing up there. And then when I got older, my father took down the ladder and we went up, and he's right, there was nothing up there. But there was that imagination.
Absolutely.
We have my father's writings. My father, he almost got published. There are letters between him and one of the big publishers about his poetry.
Oh, neat.
He wrote poetry.
Wow.
And it was beautiful. And love letters to my mom.
Oh, how nice.
And he was a beautiful writer.
And you kept
we
those?
have them. Yeah, Maureen has them. So I know.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I would give this 5 Wildflowers. I know the kind of time, we're working on a timeline here, so I
don't worry. But did the authors know her personally?
They knew when they were very young.
When they were little.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, she was an intelligent woman, and I think she went on to have a family of her own. She'd gone to college. She graduated college, but she never was able to see her works in print. And I don't know if she tried to get them published, but they did for her, which, you know.
That's a great legacy for that they did.
But like I said, there's photographs in here, and the very fact that her house was part of the Underground Railroad made me so much more interested in it. You see the houses and the family. It's just a beautiful book. So, and it's just a nice keepsake too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think you said you'd be interested.
I definitely want to read this book. We were talking before. Oh, I can borrow this. Thank you.
Yeah, you can.
I love poetry. So
I know,
always looking for new.
So, and I said 5 Wildflowers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
she's a beautiful portrait.
I know, it really is.
She's a beautiful
She's striking,
woman.
yes.
Yeah, very beautiful.
I mean, you got her to pull off that hairdo, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I can pull off a hairdo. That's nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Oh, I forgot I have the topic that
You do.
better get a move on here.
Chop, chop.
Chop, chop is right. So, anyway, I did this podcast 2 weeks ago, but when I went to download it so I could send it to Carol, I discovered that there was no audio on it, so I evidently forgot to turn on the microphone. And it was a really good podcast, so I decided I was going to repeat it. I hope that it flows as easily as it did the first time.
Well, I did the book too, and I hope that flows.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted everybody to know about this thing that I discovered while reading a novel. And this is the second time that I've read a novel and found out something historical that I never knew happened in history. So I recently read this book, The Book of Lost Friends by Lisa Wingate. And it takes place during, right after the Civil War, during the Jim Crow and Reconstruction. And the story is mainly about a former slave who is traveling around the country, ultimately to find her family. I'm not going to go through the whole book review the last time. I mean, I recommend that you do read this book. It's very well written and very interesting. And it goes back and forth across 2 timelines. What I found out from reading this book is that there was back then, I think starting in 1870 or between 1879 and 1896, there was a newspaper, a weekly newspaper in New Orleans. I should have gone over my notes a little better because I forgot. It's the Southwestern Christian Advocate. And it was a weekly from 1877 until 1929. It was an American newspaper published by the Methodist Episcopal Church in New Orleans and distributed in the southern U.S. It was an African American newspaper, but it was also distributed. It had a big white readership too. It was read by the white community, and and there were more whites reading this African newspaper than any other African American newspaper in the Union.
And it didn't just go to New Orleans. I think you mentioned last time. It had a big.
It did. It went to that was over here. I'm gonna try and follow my notes so I don't jump around too much. But it did. Like it went to, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama. It was like 5 or 6 other southern states. So the paper was, the subscription for a year in 1880 was $2.
And that was probably a lot.
I know. I pay over $33 for the New York Times a month.
You consider what people were making back then.
I know. It was distributed to nearly 500 preachers, 800 post offices, and more than 4,000 subscribers in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Arkansas. It featured a section called Lost Friends, and it was for people searching for loved ones lost to slavery. Individuals could place an ad in the paper. If you were a subscriber, it was free. If you weren't, it cost 50 cents to put an ad in this column and describing who they're looking for. Like I'm going to read some of them in a little while, and you'll see how it is. Do you still have yours?
I still have it.
Okay, good. I was hoping, I meant to ask you to bring it.
And I read it at home after the last time too. My family.
It's my dog.
We had a good conversation about it.
I know, we really did.
Yeah.
So anyway, they asked for infos about their family's whereabouts. Their ads were placed in the decades following the Civil War, and they chronicle individuals searching for loved ones lost in slavery. Because as we all know, we learned in history that slaves' families were separated. Kind of like worse then, but what we're doing now with a lot of immigrant families, like just taking, like a baby could be born a couple of days later, it's being sold to somebody else. Wives and husbands were separated. So anyway, what happened, why is another connection to this book. Lisa Wingate, you may be familiar with another book that she wrote, Before We Were Yours.
Yes.
And
Excellent
we
book.
did that when we had our book club years ago. And that was about the Tennessee Tennessee Children's Home Society that back in I think that was also in the 1800s. They were kidnapping children of poor people and putting them up for adoption in Tennessee for a profit. So they were selling people's kids.
Yeah.
And so there is a museum in New Orleans. Of course, I'm not going to remember the name of the museum, but I did write it down because I really want to go there. And the only way to look at these Lost Friends ads used to be if you could get a copy of the newspaper in a library, and the Library of Congress does have them on microfilm, I think. Or, I don't know how else you could look at them. But what they did was they wanted to put them in a database. And this woman who worked in this museum, she did that. She went through all of these ads. I think they were on microfilm in some places, and she collected the newspapers, went to libraries, and she created a database.
What a passion project.
And I went on this database, and it was incredible to go through, and it was just ad after ad after ad. They put like maybe 20 on each page. And it was really, really heartbreaking to read them. Let's see, what else we have? All right, so I already went through. This is just about the book, so I don't need to read about that. So I think what I'm going to do is Judy I gave Judy a hard
Yes.
copy. I tried to print out some, but no, you read it.
You want me to read
Yeah,
it?
yeah, you
Okay.
did it the last time, and I'll read the ones that I have on my phone.
This was so interesting. Okay. I need, I'll flash side a little bit because the print is
I know,
small.
well, I was running out of ink.
That's okay. Mr. Editor, I wish to inquire for my people. My stepfather was named George, and mother's name was Shania. I am the oldest of 10 children and am named Caroline. The others were named Anne, Mary, Lucinda, George Washington, Wright Wesley, Martha, Louisa, Samuel Houston, Prince Albert, in order of age, and were all my mother had when separated. Our first owner was Jephthah Wooten, who carried us all from Mississippi to Texas, where he died. We were stolen from Texas by Green Wooter, a nephew of Jephthah, who brought us back to Mississippi on Pearl River, where he sold us to a lawyer named Baker's Bacon, who seems not to have paid for us. My stepfather and oldest brother were stolen and carried off by him to Natchez, Mississippi, and there sold. The remainder of us were taken from him and put for safekeeping in the Holmesville, Pike County, Mississippi jail, after which we were put in the hands of another lawyer, John Lambkins, who sold us all. My mother and 3 children were sold to Bill Files in Pike County, Mississippi. My sister Ann to one Coleman in same county. She was foolish and dumb. My sister Mary to a man named Amaker, who lived in the vicinity of Gainesville, Mississippi. Lucinda was sold into Louisiana. Wright Wesley was sold at the same time, but to whom or where to, I don't know. Martha was also sold to somewhere in the settlement near my mother, but I don't know to whom. I was sold to Bill Flowers, being quite a young woman. I am now 69 years of age and have one son, Orange Henry Flowers, preacher in the Mississippi Conference, located at Pearlington, Hancock County, Mississippi, on the Bay, St. Louis charge. Any information will be acceptable and thankfully received. Right to, and then she gives her name and address.
It's just so striking when I was reading these ads that people are saying who they were sold to.
And how many times they were stolen.
Yes.
That's kidnapping.
I know, and they were constantly being sold and resold. Like if you outlived your usefulness in one place, they would ship you to another state.
You know, well, just real quick, I just had a flashback from my senior year in high school, and my history teacher, who I love, Mr. Wilson, and he was trying to impress upon us about the slave trade, and he goes, you have to understand, people didn't consider these people.
No, they were property.
Well, no, he said they're even like animals.
Yeah, like a puppy. You go to a breeder, you take a puppy, and there you go.
People would leave a slave in their will. They considered them slaves were property.
Oh, I see what
they
you're saying.
purchased it. It's a person.
So you can't kidnap
and it goes
Right.
exactly. So,
and it never even dawned on me until of course I was totally against what happened with the slavery, but he put it in such perspective that
I'm glad he did that.
Yeah, I loved him.
But they used the language, and I said it last time, I'll say it again just to impress upon, when she referenced her sister as being dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, she's probably talking, she had a mental illness.
Yeah, she probably was.
So what usefulness did this girl, a young girl,
she was
be
probably
sold to
had a lot of babies.
Yeah.
Another man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there was so much rape going on there and abuse.
Yeah.
But, I'll read a couple of, that is a long one. Most of the ads are very short. That woman was unusual that she had all this information about when and where her family members were going and names. A lot of people, and one of them, which I hope I find, I have a whole bunch, the person said, I don't remember my mother's name.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people were children when they were torn away. Like this one. And I didn't mention either that these ads in this paper, the reason why the paper was distributed to preachers is because during the church service every week, the preachers read the ads to the congregation in case somebody was familiar or was a family member.
Would recognize.
Exactly. Say, oh, I know where they are, or oh, that's my kid, that's, my family.
Right, because a lot of people probably couldn't read
Right.
or afford the circulation.
Exactly.
Money. So church was a great way, or you also said they gave them to the post office.
Yes,
probably people sat around there.
Probably, yeah.
Right.
So I'll read a couple of them and give you an idea of how most of them went. And information wanted of my mother. Her name was Mary Thompson. I was sold when I was 10 years old. I was taken from Brookville, Noxubee County. I was sold down in Mobile, Alabama, to a man by the name of Mayor Barry. My name is George Alexander Washington, and one brother was named Scott, one named Governor. My sister was named Puss. She had a burn on her right side. One sister named Sarah Jane. And then they put down, direct any information to the person.
I wonder how she got burned.
Well, it was punishment for something, so. I wish to inquire for my mother and 3 brothers. Mother's name was Molly. She belonged to Solomon Crabtree. Sister's name was Lucy. She was sold when 4 days old. My name is Edith. I left Virginia with Nancy Smith. Brother Peter and I both came to Warren County, Tennessee with her. I now go by the name of Edith Rogers. I had 2 brothers, Ben and Frank, whom I left behind. And then she says where to get in touch with her.
I'm glad you referenced the connection to what's going on. This is happening.
It is happening.
And I could, when you're done, I could reference something that I've learned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wish to inquire for my kinfolks. My first master was Mr. Johnston of Petersburg, Virginia. When I left my folks, I was 11 years old. Sister's name was Lucy White. Brothers Frank Ralston Johnson.
Wow.
I know,
It's devastating to hear.
I wish to inquire for my sister, Caroline Henry. She belonged to a man named Henry who lived in Van Buren, Crawford County, Arkansas. I left her in 1862. I went from her to Fort Smith, where I lived at the time. I belonged to Lawyer Pullman. He brought me to Texas in 1862, and I am now living in Georgetown, Williamson County, Texas. Our mother and father were named Robert Miller and Lina Miller. They were sold away from us when I was 9 years old. I have never heard from them since. The pastors of Arkansas will please read this to their congregations. If she can be found, write to me.
What's striking is about how often they moved, right? Sometimes
I know.
Also, and not just we're talking about to a different house. It's this one was crossed many state lines.
Yes,
She was crossing straight lines.
Most of these ads, and there are hundreds and hundreds of them. I mean, you have to go onto the database.
I'm wondering if this was intentional when they sold people. They would sell them to people who might be living far away. Right?
It was probably has more to do, I would think, with profit. With profit and the usefulness. Especially, with young girls,
Well, the person is we are doing this now, and that's with immigration, and I know people who work in the school systems, and I'm here, I heard a story recently that perked my interest, and it was about the buses, and there was a driver who, drives around for a school district and mostly picks up displaced children in the foster care system, right? And there was one student who was moved again in the foster care system, young teenager, about 15 years of age. She entered the system because her parents were deported. And now she's living within the foster care system. and is being already moved many times in the short period of time to different homes, because how many foster homes are really you going to find good homes for older teenagers?
I know.
And it's this is kind of, I'm wondering if, 20 years from now, we're going to find a new
database,
lost friends database of people children looking for their parents who were deported. And it's not just, they're not just going to the home countries, because as we know, this administration is sending them to Africa, or wherever, and we could have a whole new need for a new database.
Yeah. Well, also it was during the Biden administration when the kids were being separated from their families and lost. Like, there are still families looking for their children.
You're right, and I'm glad you pointed that out.
But anyway, you could go on. It's called the Lost Friends Database. If you put that in, you're gonna find it, and it's I think it's the Historic
New Orleans Collection is the database. I wrote it down last time.
Thank you. I know I did too, but God knows where it is in this mess that I have.
And the woman who started was Plauché, P-L-A-U-C-H.
Yes. What she did is she read this book, and then she got in touch with Lisa Wingate, and she explained to her about this Lost Friends, the ads in that newspaper, and she said, why don't you write a book about that? And Lisa Wingate did. She got together with her and she did a lot of research, and she did. And there's actually in the book, and I really do recommend that you read it. It's wonderful. Yeah. She did at the beginning of each chapter put a Lost Friends ad, and that's how I found out about it. I said, oh my God, I had no idea. Even though I know slavery was just a horrible, horrible thing, I never thought about. After it was over, it never dawned on me that people didn't know where their family members were. No. It's just another one of the horrors of slavery.
Another one of the horrors.
Another one of it, and I know in this administration they like to, put everything, hush hush, and you don't want to upset, white people talking about the realities of slavery.
And on a different note, Carolyn Levitt got very upset that the deaths of this war was being reported, and she was yelling at Caitlin Collins and saying, you just want to give Trump a bad name. No, we're reporting
fatalities, and don't those soldiers don't they deserve that?
They deserve the recognition, the bravery that they went there, joined our military, risked their lives, unlike any of the Trump family, unlike any of them ever will.
Right, exactly.
Don't even get me started. I'm not going to do that. But no, we should know their names.
Yeah. And another thing.
And they should be saluted without their hat on, their baseball hat on.
Exactly.
Yeah, what a joke. But anyway, and this is what reading is about, what you found in this book that got you
Exactly. And the other time that I found out about something that I didn't know about, and I probably should have, was when I read one of Claire Keegan's books, Small Things Like These. And I learned about the Magdalene laundries in Ireland, and not only in Ireland, to be fair, but it was mostly Ireland, and it was run by the Catholic Church. And I was horrified when I read about it in the book. I said, what is this? And then there's so much information about it out there. They need to do a film about lost friends. They really do.
They might. About lost friends.
I know. Maybe I'll write to Kim Burns, my letter writing campaign, and ask him to look and do a documentary about
her and get it, because I'm so glad I didn't know about that. Thank you. I wrote took notes on it.
I know.
It's great.
I love it.
Yeah. So when you're ready, you can borrow it. I know that you have a whole bunch of books.
And one thing that I do want to say though too, because as you know, I do IgG, investigative genetic genealogy. What a database treasure.
I know.
For people who may be missing a link. And to see where their relatives ended up, if it's a searchable database. Right. I wrote it down. I took note of that.
That's great.
Yeah, but the problem with it is that, many times there's no last names.
or they have their own slave owners.
No DNA.
But sometimes you'll know who they were owned by, and if they put the owners in there, and then you can find
well, usually the last name that they give is the owner's name, because they were stripped of their names.
That's just a separate thing. But
I know. But anyway, read the book too. It's an excellent book. As I said, 2 different timelines. The first timeline is Hanny, and it's right after they were emancipated. And the second timeline takes place on the same plantation, but it's not a plantation anymore, but the same family owns it. And it's the people who live on the plantation now in these little houses, and they're poor people, uneducated. The school is terrible, and this teacher, a young teacher, who tries to reach the kids. And she does it by talking about their history and getting them interested.
That's a good teacher.
So it's a really very good book.
Thank you for sharing.
Love it.
Okay.
Good
Thank
topic.
you for watching, and we'll be back
Happy
very
St. Patrick's Day.
soon.
I wish you could smell, but we're baking soda bread.
I know.
Yeah.
It smells good.